What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Undrafted Views. We're here. We talk sports from the sidelines. And today we're going to talk about the Golden State Warriors. Yes, the Golden State Warriors. We are watching them too. And we're going to cover what we know about the team and what we suggest they do to get ready for the upcoming 2021 NBA season. Let's get into it.
The Golden State Warriors finished 15-50 last season and were 15th in the West. Can we just say that they tanked?
Can we just say it? We're going to put it out there. It may not be a popular opinion, especially for those Golden State Warrior fans, but the Golden State Warriors tanked. Oh, yeah, they did. Mm-hmm. And maybe tanking was something out of their control because they need to work on the depth of their team. Well, we'll get into that.
Yeah. It's pretty bad. Now, Steph Curry, we all know he was injured last season. He only played 5 games. He only played 5 games of the whole season. And then we know Klay Thompson was out with his major injury. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, that left Draymond Green all by himself.
and clearly that's not going to be enough. And you know what, though? It shouldn't be because that's not his role. So mm-hmm. That's fair. Yeah. So we averaged 8 points during the Steph and Klay hiatus, and we know that's not enough. Luckily, they had Andrew Wiggins to kind of pick up some of the slack. Yeah, it was almost like the Golden State Warriors for the previous season was a practice squad. It's like, let's just get on out here and let's just keep our players on our roster. Let me just make sure that they're agile and they still got, their competitive spirit. But without Klay and Steph, the Splash Brothers, it's a wrap anyway. But should it be that way? I guess if you're missing both of your top players, I guess that's just how it goes. And your third player, KD, who was like, I'll see y'all later. So
I'll see y'all. See, that's the problem with the depth chart. Right now, as it stands with this current roster, the Golden State Warriors do not have a depth chart at all.
No, they don't. No, it's pitiful, actually. If they go into the 2021 season with this depth chart, they'll find themselves at the bottom of the pack again. It's just horrible. Unless their superstars remain healthy. And that's what we always hope for. So, yeah, it's going to be a rough season for them, considering that as a team, they haven't played in a year. Let's just be honest. As a team, the Golden State Warriors have not played in a year. And Andrew Wiggins has not played with Klay. What is that chemistry going to look like? So we know that they brought in Andrew Wiggins to kind of take up some of the space that KD held. I believe that's why they brought them in. You mentioned that to me offline. So if that's the case, they have not created a chemistry on the court yet.
Nope.
And with Steph Curry only playing 5 games, there has not been a chemistry. Nope. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. The Golden State team that we remembered is of no more. And it's going to be very interesting to see how they push forward because other teams in the West, they're getting stacked and they're getting ready. And they are formulating their teams to make sure that Golden State is not even a threat anymore.
Yeah, that's true. And I know people always have the argument, well, Golden State was able to win before KD got there. And they won while KD was there. And now when I say win, I'm talking about the NBA Finals. Or even not only the NBA Finals, but also the Western Conference champions, right? At the end of the day, that team prior to KD and the team that KD was on is no longer the team today. So that was in the past. And if we're talking about what the future of Golden State looks like, I'm going to need for them to get some more people on their depth chart. Now, if they got to go to a mid-level exception, whatever that looks like, then do that. Because what the Western Conference has to offer for this upcoming season, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if your shooting ability is going to be enough. I just don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, so you mentioned that Andrew Wiggins was brought in to, kind of take up some of the slack. He played 54 games for the Golden State Warriors and averaged 21 points per game, 3 assists, and 1 rebound. That helps, but that's not enough. No. Okay, they also brought in Marquise Chris. He played 59 games and averaged just under 10 points a game. The two of them together, maybe that, can take up some of KD's slack, but still not enough.
It's not, and that's my point. It is not enough. So we're talking about the Golden State Warriors being able to compete this upcoming season. Compete with who? Who on their team will they be using to help get them to the conference finals and perhaps the NBA finals? Who?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm telling you right now, of course, we all know that Steph, Clay, they've been off for a whole year. So hopefully they are ready to go and they're going to bring the heat.
I think it's very important that as we look forward to the 2020 NBA draft, to remember that the Golden State Warriors have the second pick in the draft. And hopefully they will select James Wiseman at center, because I was just projecting the Golden State Warriors starting five lineup, moving forward. Okay. So we would have Stephen Clay at the guards, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, and James Wiseman. That is a stacked starting five. The problem is what happens when they need a rest or if someone gets injured. The depth is very minimal at most. A bunch of rookies who played a little bit last season in the practice squad session, but they just don't have enough experience to, pick up the slack when the starters are sitting down.
You know what? It's going to be interesting enough talking about Wiseman that you mentioned. I mean, if they do pick him in the draft as the number 2 pick that they have, will he be effective when they first start? And hear me out. The reason why I'm saying that is because he didn't play college basketball. And so he didn't play college basketball. And if he did, he played a few games. That's number one, right? And since it's going to be a shortened preseason, what do you call it? A shortened training camp. Will he really be ready to play with these grown men at the start of the season?
Well, the good news is he has a grown man body at 7'1" and 235. I mean,
he's got a grown man. Okay. He's strong.
No, he's ready. He's ready. Obviously, he still needs. Yeah, so obviously he has to get used to banging up against, the grown man down low. But in terms of his stature, I think he's ready. I think he's ready. And I think that he will be effective playing for the Golden State Warriors as a rookie, even though he hadn't played much in college, because he had all of this time during the hiatus and after he decided not to return to University of Memphis to get his body ready. So I hope he's been using the time wisely.
That's true. That's true. And it is okay. I guess if you're going to start, if they do select James Wiseman and he does start at the beginning of the season, it's probably the best time to start. Because it's a shortened break for the NBA players anyway. So if you're going to get in the mix now.
Right.
Everybody's going to be starting over again because every team, I would say every team, but most teams will have new players anyway. So if you're going to play, start when the season starts. So that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't know. The Warriors, I think they're a big question mark moving forward. We don't know what they're going to look like come next season.
People that follow the Golden State Warriors are basing their expectations of them based off of who they were. And that ain't the same. They lost a major when KD left. That was huge for their team, huge for their organization, huge for the confidence that the Golden State Warriors brought to the fan base. And that's not there anymore. So although Steph may be the franchise player and Clay is right behind him, and then you got Draymond who's taking up the rear, I don't know if that's going to be enough. I question if it's going to be enough. I hope it is because I want to see them move forward, and they will be something to compete against. 3 players alone, but it's not only 3 players that are on the court. There's a total of 5 plus, because they're going to need some breaks. Somebody hopefully won't get injured, but if they do, then what? You're going to have another 15-50 season? You don't want to create a losing culture, because once you do that, you're going to be looking like the Orlando Magic. I'm just saying you don't want to do that, right? So
get
back on track. You have 1 year to kind of regroup and get yourself together, but I'm going to need the Golden State Warriors to come out and make it happen. And I just don't know based off of this roster if they're going to be able to do it.
You know, one of the problems that I see with the Golden State Warriors is a lot of their money is tied up in just four players. Four players. And that's the problem why the depth chart looks the way it
Yeah.
does.
Who
Who are you going to get rid of?
are you
Who are
gonna
you going to
trade?
get rid of? Yeah.
Who is a valuable trade piece? Who's a valuable trade piece? Let me see.
Kevon Looney, maybe. And even with that, he's only making $4 million. Kevon Looney, maybe Damian Lee, because we know he's only on the team because he's Steph Curry's brother-in-law. But just saying, who else? I don't see any other trade bait. There's nobody.
Not unless you're going to trade them in some picks.
Ooh, not your first round pick. Definitely not your first round pick.
Then you're not going to get anybody you're going to have to deal with a rookie. And it's not necessarily a bad thing because they also have second round draft picks, pick number 48 and 51. What if you find a gem in those two options? What if you do? But what if you don't? So you still need somebody that is a veteran that can that's making minimum salary, like barely make it. Like this may be their last year. You know, kind of revive a career like you did for DeMarcus Cousins. I mean, you can't pull him back because you guys waived him and he went to the Lakers and you know how that ended. But is there someone out there like that at that role and at that position that can give you at least 16, 15 points a night?
No.
No, not at that, not at the pennies that they can potentially pay.
Yeah. Now the good thing about the Warriors is it seems like they have a very fun culture. Everyone from their general management, their managers down to Steve Kerr, and then Steph Curry plays with so much joy and passion.
Yeah.
So it is a desirable place to come play. They got a new arena, you know, they launched a new initiative to have 25% fans with the whole pandemic testing and all that.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, well, it might be exciting to play in the San Francisco area next season.
Yeah.
But like you said, who's available?
That's so true. But we know that the Golden State Warriors cannot end the upcoming season with a 15-50 record. It just doesn't look good. Not for 2 years in a row. That'd be horrible for them. I believe that Golden State Warriors received a pass last year. Think about it. They had major transition, major injuries. So they had a year pass. I don't see them being able to get that same pass this upcoming season. I just don't.
Yeah, no, not with everyone healthy. There's no excuse for them to get a pass.
No excuse. Right.
Well, we know the Golden State Warriors' best bet is to pick James Wiseman from the draft. They do not need to pick Denny Avdija or LaMelo Ball. And here's why.
Why?
Denny, though the Golden State Warriors will gain a bunch of Israeli fans and become even more global than they are already.
Yeah, that's true.
He's just all offense. And it's exciting as it will be to have him paired up with, you know, Stephen Clay and all them. They don't need him. They need somebody down low as center. LaMelo, that's another story. Do you want the drama that comes with him?
Hey, if you get LaMelo, you get his dad. You gonna put him in a suit too? You gonna add LaMelo's father to the roster and pay him like you paying Udonis $2.5 million just to sit on again. Y'all don't want that. Y'all don't want that.
Yeah, no. What suggestions do you have for the Golden State Warriors?
You know what? Considering that they no longer have Iguodala, who would be comparable on their roster, or do they need to acquire a player like Iguodala when we're talking about getting down low, being on defense? Because right now, if I'm looking at their chart, I don't know about Andrew Wiggins' defense, but I can tell you, Stephen Clay, there is none. So who else is going to be? No, seriously, who else is going to be the counterpart or the complement to Draymond? Who's going to be that person? Because before you had Iggy before KD, and you had Iggy while KD was there. So who is that? And do they even need it? It's a question. I don't know.
You know, Andre Iguodala was a key piece in their whole, you know, championship run and during the glory days of the Golden State Warriors. I don't know if Andrew Wiggins is the guy to fill that gap. I do not know. I don't know who they have that will fill it in. Maybe their second round picks can come in and do that.
Oh, word.
Mhm.
I don't know if anybody on their current roster, some of the rookies that they drafted in the 2019 season, would be
Mhm.
that role, but I'm just wondering who is that piece for Golden State moving forward, because that piece, the Iguodala piece, was a substantial piece to their success. So I don't know who that is, and I don't
Mhm.
know if drafting James Wiseman or a center forward type position will be able to cover that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I said, the Golden State Warriors are a big question mark. They just are. There are a lot of questions that will go unanswered for me as they move into the season. I don't have all the answers for the Golden State Warriors.
And it's kind of hard to deduct what you anticipate that they will be because we don't know what their roster will end up looking like. So perhaps after the draft, and if they're able to make some other moves on their roster, maybe when we see what they are left with before the season begins on December 22nd, perhaps then I can say, okay, yeah, that team right there, they're going to do it. Right now,
Mhm.
I can say those players can do it. I just can't say the team can do it. And
Yeah.
it's a team game. So I
You know
worry.
what? Another thing I just considered, the Golden State Warriors may have to go into the luxury tax. Right now, they're ninth in the entire NBA in terms of how they rank for salary. Though they are playing Steph Curry, Draymond, Clay, and Andrew Wiggins all the money, they're still ninth. So
Yeah.
there's room for them to potentially, if they want to win, that's the question.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to win, they may have to go into the luxury tax and get
Mm-hmm.
some of the big names like a Serge Ibaka, like a Hassan Whiteside. I mean,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Like that. Right. Yeah. I think that those pieces, they may, if they are a win now team, they may have to bite the bullet and pay the luxury tax.
pay the luxury tax because they're gonna. Well, I was gonna say they would get it back with the revenue, but with 25% fan attendance, I don't know how that's gonna look.
Right. And we don't even know what their end of the year looks like because the season was cut so short and they didn't go to the bowl. So
He did not.
mhm. I'd say that would be it for me. I think that they need to consider their depth because that is a question mark for me. And if they don't fix what that looks like, you don't want your players to step off the court and all of a sudden now you're in the deficit of your points. Like you don't want that to happen.
Mhm.
You want to be able to at least sustain until your key players come back on the court if they need to take a couple of minutes of rest. And I don't know if this particular roster can do that for them. That will be something I will be considering. So the depth for me and some type of center position that can help cover like the DeMarcus Cousins when they had him on the role on their roster. I mean, I think he was a
Mhm.
great piece. I know he's not there anymore, but somebody like that, and perhaps James Wiseman is the one to do that, hopefully. But then they also need somebody who can kind of cover or take on the role of Iguodala because he was huge to their success, and we don't want to, and nobody should be able to miss that.
Well, I think it's important to know that Iguodala. Okay, so let's say Golden State kept Iguodala. We
Mhm.
would have the Iggy that's on the Heat on the Golden State Warriors.
You know,
Would
That Iggy was something else. That's a new Iggy. I'm talking about old Iggy, not new Iggy.
well, but the
No, but
thing
I get
is,
it. I understand what
yeah,
you're saying. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I don't know that he would be effective on the Golden State Warriors with Father Time hitting them as hard as Father Time hit him.
But when I'm saying Iggy, maybe not that Iggy, but an Iggy in his prime, Iguodala, I don't know if you go by Iguodala in his prime. Who is
Mhm.
that piece? Because when Iguodala played for the championship teams that the Warriors were able to create, that Iggy, who is that for today? That's what I'm
Mm.
saying.
And the answer is, I don't know. And right now, they do not have
They do
one.
not have it. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So, you often hear the small ball, small ball. So the small ball mean there's no centers?
You know what? In today's game, they've gotten away from traditional centers. I mean, look, you got Porzingis stepping out to the 3-point line,
True.
hitting threes. I mean, it's like, what happened to the original way of playing basketball? I think that's out the window. And Golden State is the one to thank for that. They started this running down, shooting 40-foot threes.
Okay.
They started this.
Okay.
It's
And I'm
worked for
okay
them.
with that. I mean, I guess that's fine. But at the end of the day, you still have bigs on the court that can go out to the wing and shoot. AD, Porzingis, as you mentioned.
Mm.
Who is that person for Golden State? at the end of the day, right? So although you may play small ball or, micro ball, whatever they're calling it, you still have players that are over a certain height that although they may be able to step out into the wing and perhaps they can play the 4, they are still long and lengthy. And they can still meet you under the basket as well. Who is that? So you may not necessarily label them as center, but you still have a center type player on your team that can help defend someone like an AD, because that's the conference that you guys are in, right? Someone like a Porzingis when you decide to play them. That's what I'm talking about. So hopefully James Wiseman, we're going to keep plugging him in. Look, Steve Kerr. Pick James in the second pick.
Please pick James Wiseman. Please. We are begging you. The Golden State Warriors need James Wiseman.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, you guys. So that wraps up this episode of what we know and what we suggest for the Golden State Warriors entering into the new season. And there are a lot of question marks if we are being honest. We thank you all for tuning in, and make sure you drop down in the comments and answer some of the questions that we do not have answers to. And we will see you on the next one. See you guys.